We saw a delegation of ministers on the ground visiting affected areas in Gauteng. Is it too little, too late? How long will it take to revive the local economy given this unrest? Reporter Silindelo Masikane has been through Soweto all day today. She joins us now. So, Slee, let's start with what's happened later in the day, and I want to talk to you about what happened at Maponya Mall a little bit later, because that's a bit of a hopeful thing. You saw the ministers who arrived late this afternoon. Just talk to us about what they said to you.
Well, Sally, throughout the day, I think we've been seeing some of those visuals from a number of officials from government as well as the ANC making their way to various hotspots in and around Gauteng that have experienced that waves of violence and looting. And what we heard from them really was the fact that, of course, they're condemning the violence. They recognize that it's orchestrated, labeling it an act of terrorism, labeling it as economic sabotage. And I think all South Africans at this point have seen and understand the devastation of what's transpired and understand the ramifications of this looting and this criminality that's gone unabated for several days now. For the first time, we had an admittance from one of the ministers in the presidency really saying that government has failed in terms of its response, that it was too delayed, that they really underestimated the damage that was about to transpire. We also heard from the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Justice, as well as the Minister of Health in terms of, the vaccination rollout that's been affected in some of the hotspots, as well as when we expect the N3 to open up. At this stage, we still don't know. Sure. The Justice Minister told us that they are, of course, going to proceed with a number of prosecutions of those who were looting and those that have been inciting the violence. Let's take a listen to what the Transport Minister had to say a little bit earlier on as well.
There are those who analyze from the sidelines and say, what do ministers, where do they come from, what do they want? Now I want everybody to answer the question, who was ready for this? Because we're never ready. When things happen and they are planned and they are not spontaneous, when women in Cape Town came to Parliament and marched and they organized themselves, it was a spontaneous act. Azange badiliza ama-building, belwela i-GBV. They called the president out of Parliament and ministers to come and talk to them. Now, when people burn the infrastructure, and those people are faceless, and then they attack at night, they attack malls. These malls will not have soldiers guarding them, will not have police guarding them. They've got security. They mobilize people in the hostels at night. They bring them here to come and loot, like it happened in Alex, like it happened in Chabulani. They mobilize the unemployed. And those who are analyzing from the sidelines, they say, no, the problem is not the problem of so-and-so, it's a problem of unemployment. We agree with them. The people who are basically sent to the front to loot are those who are hungry. It's hungry people. And then we are attacked by the pandemic, left and right. We are still dealing with the pandemic. In the middle of the pandemic, they then come in and use the unemployed, the hungry, and put them to the front to come and attack the malls in the name of something.
All right, so that, Slee, of course, is Minister Fikile Mbalula. Slee, I'm going to ask you just to wait a minute. I want to bring in our colleague Letiwe Mdluli. Things seem to be